Welcome, one and all. And before we get started, a special shout out to Aaron Kenny, because we keep forgetting to shout him out, for the wonderful theme music titled Saving the World, which indeed you do save the world, Aaron Kenny, with your lovely music.
It's so good.
It is good. So welcome to the Alderaan Community Outreach Podcast. I am your host, the envy of the Ewoks, Sir Adam Jewell. Along with me, as always, my co-host, the genius of the Geonosians.
Oh, wow. Got
that one right there.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're recording in the morning today.
Yeah, early morning.
I have my coffee. It's Sauni, by the way.
Oh, yeah, co-host.
Co-host.
With the most. I just hit the microphone.
With the most. And
with
the Starbucks.
And just water for me. Caffeine makes me sick. Well, I shouldn't say caffeine. Well, maybe it is caffeine. I don't know. Coffee makes me sick.
I feel that. I've been trying, budgetary-wise, I've been trying to cut back on the Starbucks. But I thought today was a special day because we're recording a podcast in the morning.
Yeah, and what's a morning without Folgers in your cup? It's not Folgers.
No, this is some nitro. So, like, it could get wild. Once that starts kicking in, hey, I'll be fine.
So, morning, and I'm not all about this. No, I like it.
I actually feel like I could get into this. It feels right. Like, wake up, talk about Star Wars.
And
my ideal day.
And then you got the rest of your day.
So, what shirt are you wearing, Adam? Let's start talking about what's interesting here. Is that just like casual?
It's just some casual summer wear.
I like it. Is it like themed to something, or is it really just like, is that print supposed to be something?
Not that I'm aware of, but it does remind me of the I don't know if it's still the gimmick that they're doing, but the Disney Vacation Club.
Yes, my dad has that shirt with all the passport.
Yeah, with all the passport stuff. That's what it reminds me of. It is not.
I kind of thought it was.
It is not, but when I saw it, I was like, that looks like they clearly are taking some inspiration here.
I think you can buy DVC stuff without being. You just have to go to one of the DVC locations.
Well, not even that. They sell some of that at like the Disney outlets.
Yeah, so you could totally like just fake it, but
yeah, I can't do that though. It's like it's like having pass holder stuff when you're not a pass holder.
True, you're just being a poser.
Though right now we still have the pass holder magnets on our car, and we're not pass holders anymore.
But you have been.
Yeah, we were.
I feel like that's fair.
Point. We actually had 3 magnets. One fell off.
I like them. Every time I park behind your car in the driveway, I'm always like, Disney.
It was the Flower and Garden festival or whatever.
I love Epcot festivals.
It was a Daisy pass holder magnet. We lost it. It fell off the car.
That's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, my favorite shirt, I'm just going to steal this sunshine right here.
That's fair. It was really the only reason you cared about what I was wearing.
Yeah, that was my segue. Okay. I'm wearing my Knights of Ren shirt. So I got this in the Disney store in Chicago, which was actually my last trip before Order 66.
Wow, look at that.
We went to Chicago in January. It was wild. It was so snowy. It was like a blizzard the whole time. And the vast majority of my money went to the Disney store because it'd been a minute since I've gotten to any of the parks.
That's fair. Here's a story for you. So for those of you watching, we don't live in a very big town. I mean, I guess it's big compared to some places.
It's a small city. I think technically it is a small city.
Yes, I mean it's under, or maybe it's like just over 100,000. I'm not sure.
The city itself is just under. Like we've lost that, but everybody lives in the suburbs.
Okay, fair enough.
The suburbs right now.
But anyway, so we for the longest time did not have an H&M store.
Yes.
We just got one. I would assume, I don't know, maybe like 5 years ago.
And a Forever 21.
And a Forever 21.
The big leagues.
Yeah, we didn't have those for the longest time. The last time I was in Chicago, actually I've only really visited Chicago once. We were there for a couple days, but we made this big event out of going to an H&M for some reason. And now I look back and I'm like, oh, how embarrassing that we thought like seeing an H&M was a big deal.
That's how I feel anytime I'm in a city with a Uniqlo.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I will buy like all of my basics from Uniqlo because I love the clothes there. I think the fashion is just a little bit like more than just like Gap. But the prices are like Old Navy. Like I am here for Uniqlo. There's one in Disney Springs. There was one in Chicago. And then I've been to the one in I've been to one of the ones in Tokyo, but that was a
different
real treat.
Yeah,
that was
that
was not the reason I was in Tokyo.
No, we go whenever we're in Disney Springs. We always make sure to go into Uniqlo.
I love it so much. I love like the pants and stuff there.
I have a few items from there.
They're solid. They're like basics. Like they're solid basics.
I'm trying to remember. I wore one for some reason. So I have a Uniqlo shirt that Terry got for me because she likes me in outlandish and outrageous clothes. So like the more ridiculous it looks, I think the more she wants me to wear it.
Interesting.
So we got this like black and white striped shirt. And it has this giant silver like money symbol on it.
Yes.
Right? She so desperately wanted me to get it. So we got it, whatever. I think it was on sale too. And then I remember like the next day she had me wear it and we went to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, right? And for those of you who would care, Terry's favorite Disney villain is Jafar, as far as I know. She's a big Jafar person. And so they have all the villains out for Mickey's Not So Scary. And we waited in line for Jafar. And he's got the big gimmick on, so he can't even talk to you. He just does all his communication with movements.
And his little attendant.
Yes, and his little attendant. And he pointed to my shirt and was asking me for money because I guess he just assumed that I had money because of my shirt. And that's about where that story ends. I unfortunately had to tell him I didn't have no money, and then he didn't want anything to do with me.
Nice. That's a good story, though.
So there you go.
I know Uniqlo had a collab with Star Wars. Like they had T-shirts and graphic designing stuff. T-shirts, graphic tees. That's the word that I was trying to do. Woo, okay. They had them right around the same time as Rise of Skywalker came out. And there's one that's on super sale right now that's in my cart that I'm thinking about buying because
it's one of those items.
It's I just think it would be fun to wear to this podcast, and I think Terry would really appreciate it because it's a Jar Jar shirt.
Oh, well then, yeah, she'll 100%
And I just feel like
that.
who doesn't need a Jar Jar shirt?
No, did you say it was on sale?
Yes.
No, what? Couldn't sell the Jar Jar merch.
Like 80% off. Like it's way on sale. That's why I was like, I should probably just buy this. But my Knights of Ren shirt, I think the tag on it, I think is from like Disney Tokyo. So I don't know if they sold these in the parks here.
Right.
Like I think it ended up in the Disney store like outlet. Like because it was on sale.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you I've never seen it.
Well, they didn't really use the Knights of Ren. Like
yes,
in a real way. So I think this was like probably early merch, like maybe
When
Last
they
Jedi
thought.
merch or
maybe.
Were the Knights of Ren in? They were in
Rise of Skywalker.
Were they in the Force Awakens?
Just in Rey's like little vision.
Yeah, so maybe, like, because maybe it's like, oh, they introduced them and they're going to be a real part of like the Kylo story,
And then they weren't.
and then they just weren't. But I think this shirt is pretty dope because of it all.
That's a good shirt.
It is. It's a
shirt.
long sleeve. I like that. I'm always here for it. I'm always cold when I'm in this room, our podcast room.
Yeah, well, it's a small room and the air conditioning just blasts in here.
Yeah, the walls are blue because it's cold.
Yeah. That's actually, these walls are actually supposed to be red, but it's just so
They're
cold.
temperature sensitive.
Yeah. Oh, that
would be unnecessary.
That would be weird because who gauges how cold it is, you know? Maybe
the mountains on the one beer can. I don't even know what brand I'm trying to talk about.
Coors.
Is it Coors?
Yeah, I believe it's Coors. I don't drink beer,
I
but
don't
I'm pretty sure it's Coors. Yeah, those change with temperature. But like, I just mean if it was your walls, right?
Should we call it blue milk blue?
Yes, that's why the walls are blue.
Fuzzy tauntaun
We're
blue.
just big fans of the blue milk. Okay. So,
I brought a book.
yes, last week we were supposed to do a show. Sauni has been reading Bob Iger's Ride of a Lifetime, if I'm correct, that's the name of the title.
Yep, Ride of a Lifetime by Bob Disney.
And,
Bob Iger.
And I guess there's a section there where he talks about Disney's
Acquisition.
Yes, I almost said the word consumption, and I was like, they didn't eat it.
Didn't they?
Well, maybe. That it was served, and George Lucas like gave them the rights like on a little plate.
There's an entire chapter called Star Wars because they kind of look at the first half of the book is how Bob Iger got to Disney, got to be the CEO of the Walt Disney Company. So there's like his career building, and then it's what he's done with his career up to then. And he resigned, didn't he? Did COVID mess that up?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know that like I got the like notification, and then I just didn't follow through. Because I know he's been like trying to wind down his career for a minute now, but like he keeps hanging on.
Yeah, let me see. Bob Iger. It still has him listed as chairman of Disney, but that's...
So maybe he's chairman, but he's not CEO. I think he's baby stepping his way out.
Maybe. I'm sure if we just... Bob Iger thought he was leaving on top. But whatever, that sounds like garbage.
But like Bob Iger, his big contributions to the Disney company, he did Shanghai Disneyland, which was the first like within mainland China. So that was a really big market for him to do. And then he was behind the acquisition of Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm. And so those were like the big three. And
what a man.
Yeah, because like Disney had worked with Pixar previously, and they had a contract, but that contract was coming to an end. And because of how Michael Eisner left the company, it was getting a little tense, and so they thought they were going to end up losing their relationship with Pixar altogether. And I mean, like, Disney was smart enough to realize that Pixar movies resonate with audiences in a real way.
Yeah, just ask Terry. She'll cry at just about every single one of them.
I don't know what it is. Like, Pixar really makes good movies. And so Disney ended up acquiring Pixar. They just bought it, and now it's Disney Pixar. So they like locked it down. But I would say this was a really good book, especially if you're into like business guidance, like self-help kind of thing. Because he talks a lot about, he has like his characteristics of a good leader and stuff. And he's really candid. Like he talks about his mistakes and what he wish he could have done differently. Like
those are always good.
I would say like probably gonna read again. Like this was a very good read. But the Star Wars chapter was so interesting.
Bet you just had to share it with everyone.
Well, I thought it was an interesting, because it would lead to a lot of good dialogue.
Oh, by the way, Walt Disney Company CEO is Bob Chapek, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, that sounds right. So we don't know much about him yet.
Maybe he'll write a book.
Well, because the whole COVID thing, like life is just really wild. The Order 66, excuse me.
You could say it's been the ride of a lifetime.
But
I don't remember what button it is.
You were looking, I saw you,
I know,
then I was like, I got this.
Yeah, I was like, we have that somewhere. I'll figure it out.
I think the real like pinnacle of the Star Wars acquisition can be like summarized into this one line. It says, "This wasn't negotiating to buy a business. It was negotiating to be the keeper of George's legacy. And I needed to be ultra sensitive to that at all times." I being Bob Iger.
Yes.
And I just think that that's so interesting. Like it really is George's legacy. And you can tell that he was like anxious about it throughout these talks were so sensitive, and it was hard. So George Lucas had more of a relationship with Pixar historically. And Steve Jobs had owned Pixar, chairman of the board, Pixar. He definitely had an ownership in Pixar. So George Lucas and Steve Jobs were buds. And then when Disney acquired Pixar, Steve Jobs and Bob Iger became friends. And so Steve Jobs, like the founder of Apple, the iPod guy, the whole thing, he was the one that kind of started the talks between Bob Iger and George Lucas. And I just think that's so weird, because you think of Steve Jobs as like a tech guy, but he really has a huge say in the way Disney is today, and even Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, wait, what? I don't know. Maybe
that
just
guy? No, you're right.
Like, I think of him in a turtleneck being like a tech guy, like a Bill Gates, like just not having any interest in like the entertainment industry.
Well, I mean, I guess they did. I was going to say they did. I mean, Apple does have like Apple TV now, but I guess that's, that just started. That wasn't, I can't speak for Steve Jobs, but I don't know if that was something that he had talked about prior.
He seems to have a good like interest in entertainment because the iPod like had videos, like you could like download TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the OG ones, and that was kind of the start of like.
I mean, they were very big on getting podcasts out there, so.
Exactly, podcasts are so like. I think due to Apple, like I kind of feel like before that it was like radio syndications.
I was about to do my radio voice.
The radio voice. No, we don't need that. Okay, so have you ever heard of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles? It was a TV show.
So yes, I've heard of it. I think I maybe have seen a clip of it, but I've never actually watched it.
I want to watch it. I'm intrigued. So George Lucas did Indiana Jones, and Bob Iger actually was the one that okayed when he was working at ABC. He was the one that okayed the 2 seasons of the Indiana Jones Chronicles. So George Lucas knew about Bob Iger and kind of respected him because he knew that George knew that Bob would give him a chance and respected his craft. And so they first brought up the acquisition at the rededication of Star Tours after it was refurbished. And George wasn't ready yet. So we waited. And they talk about how hard it was to value the like Lucasfilm because it wasn't a publicly traded company. It was all George. And they didn't really have anything in the pipeline, specific like movie wise at the time. So they were like, I don't know how much to pay them because when George Lucas finally did come around to wanting to sell, he wanted the Pixar deal, and Pixar had like 7 movies halfway done when they sold that. So like they knew like, oh, within the next 9 months we will have revenue from, like they were very confident. And Lucasfilm did not, like it had kind of been stagnant since the prequels.
I'm trying to think.
I guess Clone Wars was happening?
Clone Wars. I mean, they put out Indiana Jones 4.
Exactly.
Shia LaBeouf. Trying to think. I think they put out that other weird movie. Didn't he do like some war movie or something? I feel like it had like Cuba Gooding Jr. in it. I think it was called Red Tails. Was that it? I'm looking that up right now. Go ahead, continue.
They don't talk about Indiana Jones, like the newer movies in this. They're really just, did they buy the rights to Indiana Jones like when they have Lucasfilm? I guess I don't even know.
I would assume so.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, Red Tails, 2012. There's a Red Tails Lucasfilm. Yes.
Cool. Okay. So they're trying to figure out how to value the company because it's like George Lucas's legacy and the world, and most of the value, especially in the Star Wars stuff, seemed to be in the rights to like toys, like Hasbro and Lego and stuff. Well, because those are like, that was like Star Wars' biggest revenue at the time. Like it was all just merch toys.
That was, I believe, George Lucas's doing when he made the deal with Fox, if I recall. Like he just wanted all of the like merchandise sales and whatnot, and they were like, yeah, go ahead, because they didn't think that movie was gonna end up being what it was, and that's why we see Star Wars plastered on everything.
It's funny because people will be like, have a Star Wars thing, and you want to like I always want to be like, oh, I like your keychain, or oh, that's a really cool t-shirt. And sometimes like you can tell who the super fan is, who's like, oh my god, thanks, I chose this, and someone who's just like, it was there, I don't know what this is.
I got this at the Goodwill.
I mean, like I've seen in a gas station locally, they had like the neck gaiters that are being used as masks.
Yep.
And they had like, motorcycles and like affliction designs, and they had Baby Yoda. And like they had like a Mandalorian like symbol. And I'm like, there's no way that a trucker is gonna like know when they buy that. I mean, like maybe. I guess I can't speak for all of them.
Maybe there's Star Wars fans that are truckers.
But it just like compared to the rack of other neck gaiter options, it was out of place.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes.
It was weird, but it's like it was there. Yeah.
Have you seen some of the Disney masks? That
I
they put out?
have. I can't decide. I'm like waiting for the right one because I know that I want a Disney mask, but I just can't.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're making bank.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Off Disney masks. But good for them.
We've invested, like my family, we have a lot of masks. We definitely have built a little collection because we just don't feel like this is going away anytime soon.
So you may as well just get a whole storage room of them.
We have like a basket where we probably have enough to do like one mask per person every single day for a week. And then we do laundry once a week. Because like you need to have them. You can't.
Yeah. You guys will be well protected from Order 66.
That's the goal.
It keeps you hidden from the troopers.
Some of my cousins have like the first round of Disney masks that they came out with.
Oh, I'm sure there's...
With like the little just the animated classic characters.
I'm just waiting. Someone's probably buying every single one of them, and I'm just waiting when Order 66 finally, is finished, if ever.
They're gonna be in like museums, like this. The Disney company
those things
reacted.
Are gonna be posted on eBay.
Yeah.
For ridiculous amounts.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I don't blame anyone.
I've definitely seen. I've like out and about. I think I've seen more than one person with like a Baby Yoda mask. Like that's definitely the big thing right now is Baby Yoda.
I think I've only seen one Star Wars mask out and about. It was not Baby Yoda. I think it legit just said like Star Wars like on the side.
Okay.
And I did not say anything to them because I know how awkward it can feel when someone says something to you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it could have been one of those situations where he was just like, I don't know, my wife got this for me.
Yeah, this is my son's mask. I'm just borrowing it. Like whatever it is. I've seen like Etsy retailers that have like the Darth Vader or the Stormtrooper. Like it's this like it looks like you have half their helmet on.
Yep. I've seen those. I saw this was a while ago. I saw one on Etsy that was like an Ahsoka one. And that was kind of neat. It wasn't supposed to look like her, but it was just like an Ahsoka themed.
Yeah.
It was like her colors and like it had like the fulcrum markings all over it and whatnot. And that was pretty neat.
That is cool.
I did not buy it though.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, person. Whoever you were on Etsy, I don't remember. Good job. Keep it up.
You thought about it. You looked at it and you appreciated it, but you didn't spend money on it.
It's correct.
That is, yes.
Anyways, back to Mr. Iger.
Okay, so George Lucas is trying to get a good deal for his company. And he actually came the price, they figured it out. They figured out how much they wanted for it. I'm going to find it. $4.05 billion. Slightly more than Marvel, but not as much as the Pixar deal.
Really?
So they paid, I feel like they probably got a lot more money out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with what Disney has done.
Well, yeah, so far, though. I mean, they've had Marvel for what? When did Iron Man come out? I don't know. That was
2008?
Maybe. They've had it for quite a while now.
I don't know why I know that. I just am like fairly confident. I'm going to Google it before someone comes for me in the comments.
Actually,
2008 film. Quabam!
Actually, it was in production in 2007. I don't know when they bought Marvel. If I had to guess, like 2005, 2006.
I could find that too, but this is a big book.
I could also probably just Google it.
That's fair. Okay. So they're paying more for the rights to Lucasfilm stuff than they paid for the Marvel stuff. And they were kind of banking on this concept of give it a couple years to get everything set up, and then they're going to release a movie every other year for 6 years. And like in hindsight, we lived through that, and it was definitely more than every other year.
Yeah.
We were getting a Star Wars movie every 9 months.
Well, that's what I was going to say. By the way, we were both wrong. Marvel acquisition was in 2009, so they must have made Iron Man before they owned it.
And then they just, lucky that it worked so well.
Yeah. And that was for $4 billion.
Yeah, so more.
So a little less, yeah. But actually, I was going to bring this up when you said we definitely got more than one every other year. So he said like he wanted to be sensitive to George's legacy or whatever.
Yeah, that's how this whole thing started. Is like how do you convince someone to sell his legacy?
But do you think that Disney has been that? Like, do you think that they have tried to respect or be sensitive to his legacy.
The hardest part, and he talks about this in detail, the hardest part of this negotiation was trying to delicately gain creative control from George Lucas, because in the selling of his company, George Lucas was also selling his creative control, and George did not want to do that. Like Disney got 3 movie scripts in this deal that
they didn't even use, right?
Well, Bob Iger said specifically that he doesn't say what they were about, but he said that like he told George outright that like he has no obligation to use these or to use them as is or whatever. And like it's interesting because then he talks about like how like so Disney got it, George Lucas stepped down. It was kind of because of a tax thing that made it all happen so fast, because like they would have made less money on the deal. George Lucas would have made less money on the deal in like the next fiscal year because of a new tax regulation. So like luck was on Bob Iger and Disney's side. So they got him to sign a deal, and then they hired Kathy Kennedy, and they got JJ on board, and they talk about like trying to build this first movie that had to be like right, you know, like and so like they really do talk about The Force Awakens. And like they took longer on it than they thought. Like they wanted it out in 2015, and it
came out in 2015, right?
I think it was in the 2016 fiscal year because it was December. Okay. Yeah, so like they were already December, switched over.
Yeah, that's correct.
And he like openly says that George was disappointed.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, George has already come out and kind of said that. And that's the thing is, I'm certainly not going to disrespect Bob Iger or anything like that. But it seems like when you hear it from George, it comes across as George seemed to be under the impression that they were going to use his scripts.
The script that he gave.
And bring him on board, kind of.
Yeah.
But none of that ever happened.
Which I see both sides of it. Like my heart breaks for George Lucas because this is his legacy. Like one of the lines in here is also like the first line of George Lucas's obituary someday will be Star Wars creator.
Yeah.
Like that is like it like defines him.
That's gonna be a sad day. But
yeah.
Let's not think about that.
And so to have to like have that control wrested like out of your grip, and then to have like Disney had to do what they had to do, because I feel like from what rumors and inklings and whatever, George Lucas is kind of hard to work with.
So I've heard
about and especially about like when he's like, no, that's not how the rules of the galaxy, you know, like that's not how the galaxy works. That alien would never do that, whatever it is. And so, like, I get why Bob Iger and Disney had to do what they had to do. But, like that question that you were asked, like, this is George Lucas's legacy. Do you think they honored that?
And that's, I suppose it's up to, you know, it's an opinion. I would say...
I think that's our force for thought question this episode. Do you think that Disney has honored George Lucas's legacy? Because I know that there's 2 camps. Well, actually, I feel like there's really just one camp on the internet. Like I've seen the louder voice, the dissenters.
So it's a tough question for me. I'm going to say no, not like that they did it out of disrespect or anything. But when you think about it, they've pretty much wiped away most of what he did. I mean, the giant collection of novels that they just said, nope, this is not canon anymore, which from one side I see is like you don't want to have to cipher through all that.
Well, I think that they're trying, especially because like knowing that this was after the Marvel acquisition. So Disney knew how comic books worked. Mm-hmm. And like we've all seen, like we talked about in an earlier episode, like how DC did that with the New 52, starting from scratch. It's the same characters you love, but you just tell a different story.
Yeah, you don't make it seem like you have to go back.
Yeah, you don't have to play by the rules anymore. You can just start over. Yeah, and that's normal in comics. And I feel like that's what Disney was trying to do. with the like canon versus the legends.
Yeah,
that
maybe.
call, I feel like they were just like, we're taking the characters you love, but we're restarting.
Yeah, well, some of the characters never even came back.
Yeah, but we got new ones.
Yeah, but so I get it. It's just, I don't know. It definitely, and I guess also you have to look at it. When that happened, when they acquired, people were still very down on the prequels. I feel like just recently people have come around to like appreciating the prequels more.
Yeah.
I guess at that time the prequels were still not exactly the most.
So Disney may have been taking a risk because they knew that the most recent like big Star Wars content was not super
well received.
Yes.
And so maybe they thought to themselves like, let's separate us from this. But now I'm sure now looking back, now that everyone seems to appreciate the prequels more, maybe I don't know. And if it's true that they are bringing George on to do some kind of reboot, I guess
that's super rumor mill though.
Yeah,
like we cannot confirm.
Yeah, I'm not
I don't think
confirming
anyone can confirm that. I won't believe it until I physically see it.
Yeah.
Like I refuse to even.
I feel like Disney's too like, I don't want to say stubborn, but they wouldn't.
No, absolutely.
They wouldn't want to be like, okay, I guess you were right.
Disney. It takes a lot for Disney to like retcon its own stuff.
Yeah,
I think the only time I can really think about in recent history them really, really doing it is like in the parks, the Pirates of the Caribbean slight tweak with the red lady.
Oh, yeah.
And now Splash Mountain. But like that is talking about like super historical, racist, sexist issues. Like this isn't just like the fans didn't like it.
Yeah. So I don't know if they do it though. I'm sure George would just be laughing, or maybe just sad that it came to that. But I'm sure he'd have a bit of a "I told you so" moment if.
Do you think George like anonymously writes like fanfic somewhere of like what he would want the universe? Because I would love to see that.
Well, is it considered fan fiction if he's writing it? I guess now.
Well,
at this point,
I think it is now.
At this point,
Disney
if George
owns the
Lucas
rights.
is writing anything Star Wars related, it's fan fiction. He should publish that.
That feels wrong.
Right?
It's like that's a sin. But I think.
But it also means he can write whatever he wants.
I'm conflicted about like Disney and George's legacy. Just going back to that question a little bit, because I recognize that if Disney hadn't acquired Lucasfilm, we wouldn't have the like 3 new movies plus Solo plus Rogue One, like and
Disney Park, Galaxy's Edge.
Like they have done so much for the universe, and like that, and this is content that there's pieces of it I love in the same way that I love like older content. Mm-hmm. Like I've fallen in love with the characters and the universe still. Like I'm so grateful for it, and I don't know if Lucasfilm would have had the resources and the ability, the will to do it. Like Disney was like, we're freaking doing this.
Yeah, but I guess at the same time, you still feel bad. Like you couldn't just like offer the guy some kind of like job, something. You don't have to put him in power. But
well, I think that comes down to the stubbornness, because it is interesting. Because when Disney bought Pixar, they kept the 2 leading Pixar guys. I can't think of their names. The super fans will know. And they also, Steve Jobs got, what did he get? A position on the board?
Probably. I don't know.
Or he got something like super influential in the Walt Disney Company, where he still absolutely had a say in everything that was happening. And so like they respected, it's like Bob Iger knew that he could work with Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs could be convinced one way or the other for what was best for the company. And I think that they knew that wouldn't happen with George Lucas.
Maybe.
Like I'm not, and listeners, hear me out here. I am not on one side or the other about this. I know that I sound like I might be on Disney's side. I'm just playing devil's advocate against Adam's own opinion.
No.
I'm a Libra. We balance things. I understand both sides. I really do.
I'm certainly not questioning why Disney did what they did. And like hey, I'm sure if I was in the same position and at that time period where people were very much anti-George Lucas and saying, like, you know, he doesn't understand his own product, he doesn't know what makes Star Wars great and whatnot, and people didn't like the prequels, and there was that documentary called, like, The People Against George Lucas or whatever, like, so I get it. I'm sure from Disney's standpoint at that time, they were probably like, let's just
we just can't, like, contractually obligate ourselves to have to listen to him. Like, they could ask, but they can't have the contractual obligation that what he says goes, because Disney genuinely thought that maybe they could they could pick the right answer, and it might not be what George Lucas wanted. And you can't say that the box office for the new movies, like,
oh no, obviously
they have, like, new fans from it. Like, Disney fight it in the way that they do.
I think then your next, and we've said this before, like, if you're very worried about bringing George on, I think then what they should have done, and I guess they've done to a degree now, is like, hello, Filoni.
Yeah.
Like, he was like George's right-hand man, and he seems easier for you guys to work with. Like,
yeah, but, like, and George Lucas completely trusts Dave Filoni. Like, you can totally tell that, like, it's like adopted son. And, like, Jon Favreau, like, I really think that they understand Star Wars maybe more than corporate Disney does.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, like, I think that they're doing good things, but that's in the TV shows. Like, I think it's in the movies that Disney just went with what they know.
Yeah, I have said before, sometimes these sequels, they come across more as like trying to make a Marvel movie with Star Wars, and it just doesn't work. Like, it's just not the same type of movie, no matter how much you want it to be. Like, that kind of, like, Marvel structure just doesn't fit with Star Wars. And I think maybe Disney thought that it would. Like,
well, I think it could fit with Star Wars if they weren't trying to make like, movies, like, episodes in the saga.
You're saying, like, if they were, like, standalone-ish?
Yes. Then they could build, like, an MCU, but with a Star Wars SWU. You heard it here first, folks.
We've already trademarked it, so Disney can't have it. I'm sure that already exists.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. But I think, like, because they were trying to build off of the story that already was 6 movies deep, and they were trying to sell these, like, 3 new episodes as a continuation of that story, and they had, like, other standalone movies between them, it just makes it that much wonkier.
I'm sure that's probably definitely part of the problem. I just felt like I didn't notice it so much in Force Awakens, though it was in there a little bit, but definitely I remember the opening to Last Jedi, right? When, I'm trying to, this is terrible. I can't remember sequel characters' names. General Hux, excuse me.
I'm offended on behalf of all.
It just slipped me for a moment. No, he's a good dude. Loved him in Ex Machina. So it's that opening scene where he's, like, talking to Poe over the comm or whatever. And, like, Poe is telling this really, like, it's not even a joke, but he's, like, doing the joke where he, like, is asking for General Hux over and over. And, like, to me, that joke just falls so flat and is so, like, out of place. Like, I've never heard a joke like that in Star Wars before.
But it definitely seems like a Marvel joke.
But it seems like something that would be in a Marvel movie, like something Tony Stark would do or something. But it's just like, this does not fit in here. Like, Star Wars has never had these, like, really cringy extended jokes. Like, there were funny moments, but it wasn't like some kind of, like, structured joke. It was just usually, like, some witty comment that someone made. I remember seeing that in the theater and just thinking, like, oh, this movie's not, I hope the rest of this is not like this. But But I know you are a giant Last Jedi fan, so I won't say too much else other than just
we are allowed to
scene.
have different opinions. That's what it gives us texture
so
in this podcast.
You're a big fan of that scene.
I love Oscar Isaac. Okay.
Nothing against Oscar Isaac. He didn't write it.
I think that I get where you're coming from. I feel like I have that similar that moment feeling, but for me it's The Force Awakens. I remember seeing that movie the first time, and I felt like Disney couldn't do better than just remaking, the originals. It was too nostalgic. I was frustrated with that. So because George Lucas would not have made a nostalgic movie.
Well, obviously,
he would have added so much more, and so I was like, "This is Disney-fied."
That was Disney trying to be safe.
Yeah,
but I also understand they're trying to.
Disney wanted to say we're not going to hurt your baby to all the fans.
Yeah, but also I think introduce it to a new audience. It had been 10 years, so you have a new audience.
Yeah,
and so you're trying to say, hey, this is what Star Wars is about. And so, yeah, I get that it was very similar. I didn't, and there was definitely some nostalgia in there, but to me, it made sense. It's not something like a Jurassic World or
I watched that movie last night. I was talking about Jurassic Park last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my sister have been watching one movie every night. So we're on Jurassic World. We got the Fallen Kingdom next.
I've not watched Fallen Kingdom. I gave up on it after the first one.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of here for Chris Pratt. I know he's problematic in the real life, but I enjoy his character.
Hey.
And what's her name? Bryce Dallas.
Dallas Howard.
Yeah,
because also directed some
she's a episode. Exactly. So supporting her girl.
And the big controversy in that movie with her doing all the running from dinosaurs and heels.
Yes, though they do acknowledge that. And there's one, they have a line. Chris Pratt says to her character, "Yeah, you're gonna do this in those shoes," and she rolls up her sleeves, ties her shirt, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And so they know that it's a meme, but then she owns it. She's sprinting in those heels whole movie.
Good for her. But so I really dislike Jurassic World. But the big reason I dislike Jurassic World is a big reason why I dislike Rogue One, where so you can say Force Awakens very nostalgic, right? But everything nostalgic that is in that movie, makes sense to progress the plot of the movie. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I guess you could say things like Maz Kanata having the lightsabers kind of out of place because it's never explained how she got it. Maybe it's explained in a book or something. I don't know. But for the most part, and then it's just completely brushed off. Mm-hmm. And we never get to hear why. So maybe that, but when I look at something like Rogue One or definitely Jurassic World, which Jurassic World just shoves nostalgic things on the screen it doesn't do anything to advance the story or the plot or have anything. It's just remember this thing from the old
the character
movies.
Picks something up, shows it to the camera, puts it back down, and continues on with whatever.
It has nothing to do with anything. It's just there to say, remember this thing. And it's just out of place, and it irritates me when movies do that. Jurassic World irritated me when the kids are in the ball thing, which, by the way, why is that not on a track? You could just free-flowingly go through these fields, and there's
the people.
Could I just never come back?
Well, the people would definitely be running right into the dinosaurs. I had that thought while we were watching.
And so they go to the ball thing, and then they go back into the fenced area or whatever that's supposed to be fenced off, and so now they're in the, I'll just say not the petting zoo, of where it's just all the dinosaurs are running around wildly back there. Mm-hmm. And so they get back there, and there's all the old Jurassic Park buildings. Mm-hmm. And I'm just why would these exist? These would have been torn down. They wouldn't just, and they certainly, if they did exist, they wouldn't have anything in them, because if you have dinosaurs running around, you don't want them going in there and eating something they're not supposed to be eating. There's just, everything is as it was from the Jurassic Park movie, meaning, you mean to tell me no one ever stepped foot in there after that? The banner still exactly as it was laying when the T-Rex
I think this is so interesting. So you have issues with product placement nostalgia, that doesn't affect the plot. But you don't have issues with plot nostalgia. And I have issues with plot nostalgia because people are different and ever-changing circumstances. Stories don't repeat themselves. Well, let them try something new. Like I am team change. And I think this is why I like The Last Jedi, because it was different. Like they like challenged themselves and they were trying something new that reflected like new characters with new motivations and whatnot. And so like plot nostalgia frustrates me. I'm like, okay, I could have just watched the old movie and I would have gotten the same exact plot. Like, what is the point of putting new faces in it?
I'm certainly not saying I loved Force Awakens. I didn't hate it. It was fine. I wasn't a big fan of having yet another Death Star. That was a little...
Ooh, that was a lot. Especially because they already had two.
Yeah, we could have done without it a third time.
I think there's a saying, what is it? People who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. And I just feel like, so are we assuming that they just didn't remember everything that happened?
I mean, kind of. I mean, they didn't even know the Jedi existed. I mean, there's that big thing about, oh, yeah, the Jedi were real. So, I mean, the first time Order 66 came around, because we're living through it a second time, the first time it came around, my guess is, Palps probably did his best to kind of erase all knowledge of the Jedi, would be my guess. I don't know. Again, sure, it's explained in a book somewhere, or at least a Legends.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Definitely the Legends. That's something that I would probably be interested in learning about more. But I just, like...
I get it. No, I get what you're saying. And again, Force Awakens, not a perfect movie, but it's just, I don't know, Rogue One. We're going to
watch that movie together, and we're going to have a whole episode of... We're gonna like piece by piece. I want what we will do is you will make a list of everything that like gets your goat about it, and we'll go down the bullet points and talk about it, and we'll have a good therapy section about Rogue One.
It just seems like a poorly made fan film. Like someone gave a fan a bunch of money and said make a Star Wars movie, and they made Rogue One, and they just said this is what everyone likes about Star Wars. Lightsabers and AT-AT walkers and just...
I call them AT-ATs. Does that make me a bad fan?
No, I used to call them AT-ATs, and then everyone got on my case about it. It's an AT-AT walker.
I think that every time, like, one or the other. I'm like, am I being dumb? Because I call them an AT-AT. In my head, that's not what they are. AT just frustrates me. I just don't like it in my mouth. Yep.
Hey, whatever. But so to me, it was just like Rogue One shoved so much nostalgia in there for no reason, like shoving in the Pondababu or whatever his name is, the You'll Be Dead guy, from like shoving him in there for no reason other than to say, remember this guy? Don't get me started. But
yeah, that's not what we're talking about this
not
time.
today. But I'm sorry if you like Rogue One. I'm certainly, hey, I know I feel like I'm in the minority. I feel more people like it than dislike it. So if you like it, good on you. I'm not judging, but it just doesn't do it for me. Anyway,
George Lucas's legacy. That's what I'm going to title this episode, and that might change. Working title.
So there you go. Bob Iger talked about anything else interesting about that acquisition? Or just, we spent a lot of money and tried to make sure we respected George? And I guess the idea of a movie every other year, which that didn't quite happen. And I wonder, has there even been any kind of...
I mean, like, what?
I was going to say, has there even been any kind of word on, like, when we're getting a new Star Wars movie?
I've heard everything from Taika Waititi is getting his own trilogy to Rian Johnson still has a trilogy in the works to...
But, I mean,
like, I feel like if we're looking at all the rumors that are happening, I feel like a trilogy is going to happen. Like, I just feel like it's going to be a 3-movie set. But that's all we got. There will be another 3 movies someday.
Someday. Maybe it'll be another 10 years.
Honestly. And maybe that's okay.
Maybe that is okay.
We can, like, sit with these a little bit longer. I think it's interesting because you can tell, like, as George got more vocal with his discontent with what Disney did to him, in his opinion.
What a victim. You only got over $4 billion.
But like, can you put a price on something that literally, like, how do you create a universe and live in the universe? You know, like, have this world and your headcanon, that's your reality, you know, and then have it be like somebody else tells the story and you're like, that's wrong because you already know how it is. Yeah. Like, I think that would psychologically, that'd be hard.
I think that's partially on Star Wars fans too, though. Because, I mean, they were so terrible to George after the prequels. Like, could you really blame him for just saying, I don't want to deal with this anymore?
And that's not exactly what he said.
Well, no. Obviously, he wouldn't put it in those words. But I think internally, he's probably just like, I'm done, like, trying to please these people.
Yeah. It's like just bigger than him almost.
Yeah. I mean, I think he stopped going to, like, celebrations and whatnot. Probably because why would you? These people are just going to.
We could do a whole episode on the people that Star Wars has isolated, like the important Star Wars people that have isolated. Because like the kid that played Anakin in Episode 1, he's got issues. Lloyd. Jake Lloyd, that was his name.
Yeah, is he in jail?
Jar Jar, actor.
Yeah, but he's coming back.
But Hayden Christensen left for he's coming back a little bit now, and like there's talks about him being in maybe a TV show, which I'm so excited about.
Go put him in the Obi-Wan.
The Obi-Wan, yeah. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
But I don't know
that rumor
because that's taking place like prequel time, correct? I'm not sure. I think I heard that it was taking place like prequel time, so I guess
I feel like that's my favorite storytelling era.
But I'm not.
And not positive. Don't hold me to that, listeners. But I feel like at this moment that feels right. I mean, prequels tell the best stories, have the good characters. It does, but like again.
But I feel like we already know Obi-Wan's story during that time. For the most part, I guess the obvious timeline would be between 3 and 4 when he's just hermiting it up on Tatooine, but maybe there's not much to tell. Maybe he was just hanging out, going grocery shopping and stuff. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out. Like, whatever.
Hey, and Ewan's in there.
I'm along for the ride.
The ride of a lifetime. Hey, that's the new name,
working
title.
Last sentence of this chapter, and you can tell that Bob Iger is getting a little bit short with like how George has treated Disney's Star Wars things. He said, and George had to trust that his legacy, his baby, would be in good hands at Disney. So Bob's like, breathe, bud. Like, back off a little bit. You did this. It's our turn now. Kind of like a pass the torch, if you will.
I think he should George Lucas should have, once he started getting mad at Disney for how they were treating his baby, he should have just made a new space series.
Honestly, so would have worked.
Just call it, I don't know, Galaxy
Battles.
There you go. And just write the story that you were going to write. Just change all the names ever so lightly. You can go back to Luke Starkiller, you know.
Yeah.
You can do that. And Princess Lily. I don't know.
I feel like I don't know enough about George Lucas. Like, I want to read some more like biographies or maybe watch some more documentaries. Because I feel like everybody knows his whole story, but I feel like we're missing something.
That is a shock that he's never like put out any kind of
memoir.
Because
memoirs are really all the rage right now.
You would think, but maybe he just doesn't care, or maybe he just doesn't have anything nice to say. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. That'll be research for
it should just be a book where he talks about like
well, do you think there was an NDA?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Like, maybe he's not allowed. Like, and so he said some things, but it seemed like all the things he said were so out of left field. So I wonder if he was breaking his NDA anytime he ever like showed discontent, because he had to be on like because like to not endorse Disney's movies, and has he ever officially like not endorsed them, like just said don't watch this to his fans?
No, not to
he's probably contractually not allowed to.
I guess if he ever had any plan of like getting back in there, he's not going to say anything bad. Like then he just burns the bridge completely. So
I feel like in passing the torch, and Disney should see this, and I feel like Disney slowly is Dave Filoni.
That's what what it needs to be.
He would do it right. He would do it right.
Give
him a trilogy.
Has
he ever done like movies?
At the Clone Wars movie, I guess.
Okay, that almost doesn't count.
Get Kennedy out of office and vote Filoni 2020.
Filoni 2020.
He's gonna be a write-in for the.
No, seriously, everyone vote though. Like, I don't write in. Don't throw away your vote. I don't care who you vote for. I'm a political science major here. Okay, you gotta vote. You gotta vote.
Filoni 2020.
That's not what I'm saying, Adam.
Fine.
You're not helping the cause.
All right, fine. Filoni 2024.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
We need him wearing a cowboy hat in the Oval Office.
Honestly, refreshing.
He would finally. Do you remember back when they did? I think it was like the petition to build a Death Star, and they got enough signatures that the president had to look at it.
No, that's not a real thing.
It was a real thing.
Okay,
in the White
I
House,
need sources.
The White House put a statement out saying just like, okay, the amount of money that it would cost to build a Death Star.
Okay, I feel like we should do like a conspiracy theory like style entire episode where we just dig deep into this because my mind is blown right now.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I'm gonna put it on our segment ideas. No, don't look it up. We have to I'm talking like a full length.
We can do
story.
a full length. The White House's response to the Death Star petition.
I'm dead. Okay, we'll talk about this. What year was it?
This was a couple years ago, 2013.
Perfect.
So
okay, it's in the segment ideas. So we've talked about.
So that would have been Obama. I really want to see him reading that. Just like Death Star, huh?
I'm dead.
Can we do that?
Where is my super suit?
All right. So, moving on from Bobby.
Bob Disney, the Lucasfilm.
Yeah, Bob Disney.
So do you want to close out? Because we've been going for a minute.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that.
I think that was good, though, because I feel like that was also something that, like, all things that we just haven't really talked about before.
Yeah, we're coming up here on an hour, so...
So you want to do, like, one round each of password. We have a game.
Yes. So
and then we'll close it out.
This is what we would have had the wide shot for, but our wide shot has just...
I got it.
...been giving us problems. So we're going to play a little game here to close out the remaining time here on the Alderaan Community Podcast, or Outreach Podcast.
I love that we still don't know the name of our show. It's fine.
Clearly, it needs cut down. Just Alderaan.
Alderaan. Okay,
Alderaan at a time.
We've made a bunch of slips of paper, each with something Star Wars on them.
We made these so long ago.
Exactly, so it's going to be good. And we can keep adding to them. We need to have, like, paper down here to add to. Like, we'll just add a couple every time. But, okay, you pick one, I pick one.
Oh, God.
Okay. And this is just literally anything Star Wars. Literally anything. It could be a quote, could be an actor name, could be a character, could be a place, could be anything.
And anything, like Anakin.
Okay, and so rules of the game, we say one word clues, one word at a time until, so the person says a one word clue, the other person has to guess. And then you say another word clue, guess until they get it. Obviously, you could keep score. This could be competitive, but that's a lot of effort. So we're just gonna
see how dumb each other are when it comes to Star Wars.
I don't think we're trying to stump each other. So it's like ideally you want to think about how the other person thinks and get them to like say the one word that they'd get it.
Jar Jar. Hot.
That's all you need to know. Exactly. So do you want to guess first or do you want to give me clues first?
I'll guess first. Unless you're not prepared.
No, I got it.
All right.
Okay. First word.
Mm-hmm.
Padawan.
Ooh, there's a couple Padawans. I want to say Anakin.
No.
Nope. Okay. Panel. Oh no.
Okay, so my turn.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so another clue, just one word. That's hard because like if you wanted to do like names of content that they're in, those are multiple words, so you can't do that.
I was just thinking of the movies. Yeah, I didn't even think outside. Oh God, that adds in more Padawans.
Okay,
right.
So first clue, Padawan. Second clue. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Lightsabers.
So Ahsoka.
Yes.
As soon as I thought outside of the movies, I was like, it's probably
And
Ahsoka.
I gave that away. Well, I didn't even, I don't think I gave that away by talking about the rules. Because I didn't say Clone Wars or what content they're in. Like, I could have been talking about a movie there.
No, that's fair.
But somehow it clicked. I watched it click, and I was like, dang it, I suck.
Yeah, I was just thinking movies at first, and I was like, I mean, Anakin's a Padawan through most of it. So I would assume that's the closest thing. All right.
So our girl Ahsoka was clue 1.
Clue 1, yeah, put it back in there.
Honestly, though. Oh, well, because we could pick it again and have completely different clues.
That's true.
That's the fun part of this game. Okay.
And, we just do this to fill time here.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if you can see through there.
One word. One word only.
Yeah. You're not getting it off one word. We're going to have to go a couple here.
That's okay. That's okay.
We're going to say Han. Don't worry, you're not going to get it.
Fluffy looking Nerf herder.
All right, you got it.
Wham!
Technically Scruffy. I'm pretty sure you just said Fluffy.
I said Fluffy, but you know what?
That's what it was.
Because I tried to. Okay, I was like Han Solo, Star Wars film, and then I was like, wait, I wrote a clue that said.
Yeah, this is your handwriting. So she
But
got
again,
her
we
own.
wrote these like months ago, so I can't help that I'm just weirdly smart.
Okay, or no one's gonna grab it.
I got it. Okay, that was fun.
That was fun.
I feel like we should end. Like this should be it. Maybe reoccurring. We should bring this back more than once.
Well, that was a informative episode.
I like how both of those clues were something that like we didn't even talk about at all in this episode before that.
Yeah.
Like that's refreshing.
We'll have to talk about more scruffy looking Nerf herders. Down in the comments, let us know, who do you think is a scruffy looking Nerf herder?
So does that mean Chewbacca could be the fluffy looking Nerf herder?
Scruffy. Oh.
Fluffy.
Oh, he's the fluffy one.
He's the fluffy one.
Maybe.
Han's the scruffy one.
Well, I don't know. She refers to him as a walking carpet, so.
Yeah.
Which is rude.
I can show you the world. I'm sorry. I just feel like
Could
that's
you
Chewbacca's
imagine-
move.
Could
in a
you
romantic
imagine?
him and Maz.
That's not quite where I was going, but that too. Sure.
Okay, you go ahead.
I was going to say, could you imagine like Aladdin and Jasmine just like riding on Chewbacca? That'd be, and he's just roaring in the middle of their song. They start getting real
words.
angry.
My sister has become a big Chewbacca stan in the last like couple months, and I respect it so much. Like it's so pure. Like I get it, because why? Because like I feel like would you say that he's a lot of people's favorite character?
No.
Exactly. He's like a good character.
I feel like a lot of people I know don't care for him.
Oh.
Not like I really hate him, just as in he's there.
Fun fact, I can't think of what's the dude? Jonas. No, the guy who plays him in the new ones.
What is his name?
It's Jonas something.
Yeah.
He has the same birthday as me, and so my sister feels like she knows him because there's something about those birthdays.
He probably listens to a lot of Weezer.
I'm sorry. I'm
because
confused.
Weezer has that song "My Name Is Jonas."
I actually don't know.
He just plays it
That's fine.
at interviews or first dates or something. That's what he does, karaoke.
Okay. Chewbacca actor Jonas Suotamo.
Sounds right to me.
You know he went to Penn State.
Isn't it weird how many people who are in the Star Wars community
and played basketball? Like he was a D1
sense.
athlete. Yeah, he's like 6'7", and then he just found his calling in mascotry, for lack of a better. And he can actually like make Chewbacca sounds.
Well, yeah, that's a benefit.
I think that's so
It's weird
fun.
how much Pennsylvania seems to produce Star Wars talent.
I think you know what, we should explore that
And then us. Where the next one's coming out of there.
on our podcast.
I'm waiting for that phone call, Filoni. or I guess it's still Kathleen Kennedy.
Honestly, I would just give Dave Filoni the biggest hug. Like, I feel like Uncle Dave.
I wouldn't even do the job he hires me for. I'd just show up and give him a hug and be like, all right, I'm out.
Okay, that's all. Thanks, bye.
I certainly can't do this job. I lied on my resume.
Okay. So, George Lucas's legacy. I think we've come to a good consensus about roundabout things that Dave Filoni probably is the keeper of the legacy in the most pure sense right now.
He is the gatekeeper. We just
and
need
maybe
the
it's just
keymaster.
because he hasn't done quite enough yet to be problematic.
Maybe.
Because he's not the biggest name in the
Maybe he's
universe.
just biding his time.
Well, maybe like that's part of the reason why we feel like we can trust him is because he just hasn't broken that trust yet. Like Kathy Kennedy has, J.J. Abrams, like Ryan Johnson, Disney as a whole.
But I would assume, I mean, he's working for Disney now, or I guess, I don't know if he's still technically Lucasfilm or Disney, but whatever. I would imagine they still have quite a bit of say, so either they respect him enough to just let him do his thing, or maybe he does fight back on it. I don't know. He always seems like not the type, but maybe he's had some shouting matches with Miss Kennedy. Who knows? That's I can't imagine Dave Filoni being mad. He seems like he's never been mad at anything in his life.
I feel like he'd be sneaky. Like he would get told something from the higher ups and then he would write it in a way that makes it work for him and them.
Maybe he just does what he wants anyway because, easier to ask for forgiveness, especially after, what he does seems to succeed. So
fair enough.
We can only hope. Can't tell you anything that he's done that people have rejected. So, and I think maybe, have you watched all of the gallery episodes for Mandalorian?
No, I'm still behind on them. We're doing Jurassic Park right now.
It's true.
Okay?
That's fair. But you've already watched the good one because there's only one good one. So you can...
I feel like I'll start binging all of them again, and I'll binge first season again once we get like the trailer for season 2 and it gets closer to October, right?
It's supposedly.
Great
unless
things
it got
happen in
delayed.
October.
I don't know. But
I haven't heard anything about it being delayed.
from what I can tell whenever I'm watching those gallery episodes, and like they're all sitting at the table talking, and you have like Favreau and you have Filoni and you have Bryce Dallas Howard, whoever, all the directors, and then Kathleen Kennedy sitting there, and she seems so out of place. Like she talks, and like when she's talking, it just comes across. And no offense, I don't know her personally. I'm sure she's a very nice person, but it's just like she's talking, and it almost seems like, hey, I'm here too. Like, let's, almost like she's a little bit.
I want to do like a deep dive on her. I want to like look up more of her history and stuff because I think some of that might stem from the fact that she, from what I understand, and I have no information to back this up, but she has a history in the industry, but not a history with Star Wars, and so maybe she's like a little bit out of her element.
It's like she's trying to prove herself or something.
Because
she
has the industry experience, but she doesn't have the same like the canon.
Well, yeah, and her like relationship with Star Wars, like I don't think it was ever from like the creative side of it, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like they're sitting there just like, okay, let her talk. Because it just seems like she's trying really hard to like fit in to this like thing that she doesn't fit into.
I get that just from what I've seen.
But
we can deep dive into that.
I don't know for sure. I don't know her.
Oh, this podcast is all about assumptions.
Yeah. This is episode 5, assumptions. That'll be the next episode, just assumptions.
Honestly, though. Okay. So we played our password game. We're still going. We need to wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, huh?
It's been another good episode.
Been a nice early morning. Sure, I guess not early at this point, but it's not even noon yet.
Brunch time episode.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go have. Hope you enjoyed this while you were eating your brunch, and that's it. I'm Adam Jewell, the master of Mustafar.
I can't. Okay. I'm Sauni, the sneakiest of I got nothing.
You got nothing?
Okay, so give me a
the captain of
sneakiest of
Corellia.
Snoke's army.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Captain of Corellia.
That works too.
The mistress of Mandalore.
All right. Well, that's been the Alderaan Community Outreach Podcast. Have a good week, everyone.
Bye, guys.